did you bring?
What are you doing, Bella?
Nothing, dear. Don't wait yourself.
What are you doing? Bella, come here.
Only for tea, my dear. Muffins for tea.
Muffins, eh?
Yes, he only comes so seldom. I thought I might surprise you.
Why are you so apprehensive, my dear? I was not about to reproach you.
Oh, no, dear, I know you weren't.
That fire's in ashes. Go and ring the bell, will you, Bella dear, please?
Yes. Well, is it merely to put coal on, my dear? I can do that.
Now then, Bella, we've had this out before. Be so good as to ring the bell.
But, my dear, Lizzie's out in the street. Let me do it. I can do it so easily.
No, 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 no. Where's the girl? Let the girl come up if Lizzie's out.
But, my dear, Nancy
Go
doesn't...
and ring the bell, please, Bella. There's a good child. Now, come here. What do you suppose the servants are for, Bella? Go on, answer me. What do you suppose servants are for?
To serve us, I suppose,
Precisely.
Judge.
Then why...
But I think we should consider them a little, that's all.
Consider them. There's an extraordinary confusion of mind again. You speak as though they work for no consideration. I happen to consider Elizabeth to the tune of £16 per annum, and the girl 10. £26 a year, all told. And if that is not consideration of the most acute and lively kind, I should like to know what is.
Yes, Jack. I expect you are right.
I have no doubt of it, my dear. It's sheer weak-mindedness to think otherwise. What's the weather doing? Is it still as yellow?
Well, yes, it seems to be denser than ever. Shall you be going out in this, Jack, dear?
Oh, I expect so. Unless it gets very much worse after tea. Come in.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought the bell rang.
Yes, we rang the bell, Nancy. Go on, my dear. Tell her why we rang the bell.
Oh, yes. We want some more coal put on the fire, Nancy. Please.
And you might as well light the gas, Nancy. This darkness in the afternoon is getting beyond endurance.
Yes, sir.
You're looking very impudent and pretty this afternoon, Nancy. Do you know that?
I don't know it at all, sir.
What is it? Another broken heart added to your list?
I wasn't aware of breaking any heart, sir.
I'm sure that's not true. And that complexion of yours, that's not true either. I wonder what mysterious lotions you've been employing to enhance your natural beauties.
I'm quite natural, sir. I promise you.
But you do it adroitly, I grant you that. What are your secrets? Won't you tell us the name of your chemist? Perhaps you could pass it on to Mrs. Manningham and help banish her pallor. She would be most grateful, I have no doubt.
I'd be happy to, sir, I'm sure.
Or are women too jealous of their discoveries to pass them on to a rival?
I don't know, sir. Will that be all you're wanting, sir?
Yes, that's all I wanted, Nancy. Except my tea.
It'll be coming directly, sir.
Oh, Jack, how can you treat me like that?
But my dear, you're the mistress of the house. It was your business to tell her to put the coal on.
It isn't that. It's humiliating me like that. As though I'd do anything to my face and ask for her assistance if I did.
But you seem to look on servants as our natural equals, so I treated her as one. Besides, I was only trifling with her.
It's strange that you can't see how you hurt me. That girl laughs at me enough already.
Laughs at you? What an idea. What makes you think she laughs at you?
Oh, I know she does so in secret. In fact, she does so openly, more openly every day.
But if she does that, my dear, doesn't the fault lie with you?
You mean I'm a laughable person?
I don't mean anything. It's you who read meanings into everything, Bella dear. I wish you weren't such a perfect little silly. Come here and stop it. I've just thought of something rather nice.
Something nice? Well, what have you thought of, Jack?
I shan't tell you unless you come here.
What is it? What have you thought of?
I read here that Mr. McNaughton, the celebrated actor, is going to be in London for another season.
Yes, I read that. What of it, Jack?
What of it? What do you suppose?
Oh, Jack, do you mean it? Would you take me to see McNaughton? Oh, you wouldn't take me to see McNaughton, would you?
I not only would take you to see McNaughton, my dear, I am going to take you to see McNaughton. That is, if you want to go.
Oh, what heaven! What heaven!
When would you like to go, Bella? You have only 3 weeks, according to his advertisement.
Oh, what perfect heaven! Let me see. Do let me see.
There. You can see him in comedy or tragedy, according to your choice. Which would you prefer, Bella?
It's so hard to say. Either would be equally wonderful. Which would you choose if you were me?
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Upon whether you want to laugh or whether you want to cry.
Oh, I want to laugh. But then I should like to cry, too. In fact, I should like to do both. What made you decide to take me, Jack?
Well, my dear, you've been very good lately. And I thought it would be well to take you out of yourself.
Oh, Jack, you have been so much kinder to me lately. Could it be that you're beginning to see my point of view?
I don't know that I ever differed from it. Did I, Bella?
It's true, it's true. All I need is to be taken out of myself. Some little change, some attention from you. Oh, Jack, I could be better. I could really try to be better. You know in what way. If only I could be taken out of myself a little more.
How do you mean, my dear, exactly better?
You know in what way, dear. About all that's happened lately. We said we wouldn't speak about it.
Oh, no. Don't let's speak about that.
No, dear, I don't want to. But what I say is so important. I have been better, even in the last week. Haven't you noticed? And why is it? Because you have stayed in and been kind to me. The other night, when you stayed in and played cards with me, it was like the old days. And I went to bed feeling a normal, happy, healthy human being. And then the day after, when you read your book to me, Jack, and we sat by the fire, I felt all my life coming back for you then, Jack. And I slept that night like a child. All those ghastly fears and terrible, terrible dread seemed to have vanished. And all because you had given me your time and taken me from brooding on myself in this house all day and night.
I wonder if it is that, or whether it's merely that your medicine is beginning to benefit you.
No, dear, it's not my medicine. I've taken my medicine religiously. Haven't I taken it religiously, much as I detest it? It's more than medicine I want. It's the medicine of a sweet, sane mind, of interest in something. Don't you see what I mean?
Well, we are talking about gloomy subjects, aren't we?
Yes, dear. I don't want to be gloomy. That's the last thing I want to be. I only want you to understand. Say you understand.
Well, dear, don't I seem to? Haven't I said I'm taking you to the theatre?
Yes, dear, yes. You've made me so happy, dear.
Well, then, which is it to be, Bella? The comedy or the tragedy? You must make up your mind.
Oh, Jack, which shall it be? What shall it be? It matters so little. It matters so wonderfully little. I'm going to the play. Do you hear me, my husband? I'm going to the play. Oh, come in. No, Nancy, I think we'll have it on the table today.
Oh? Just as you wish, madam.
Nancy, if you were being taken to the play and had to choose between comedy and tragedy, which would you choose?
Well, I go for the comedy all the time, madam.
Would you? And why would you choose the comedy, Nancy?
I like to laugh, madam, I suppose.
Do you? Well, I dare say you're right. I must bear that in mind. Mr. Manningham is taking me next week, you see.
Oh, yes. Well, I hope you enjoy it. I'll bring the muffins directly.
My dear! What are you doing?
The little beast. Let her put that in her pipe and smoke it.
But what has she done?
Oh, you don't see her. She tries to torment and score me off all day long. You wouldn't notice these things.
Now, Bella.
A man wouldn't. She thinks me a poor thing. And now she can suffer the news that you're taking me to the theater.
I think you imagine things, my dear.
Oh, no, I don't. We've been too familiar with her. And now come and sit down, dear. You on one side and I on the other, like two children in the nursery.
You seem wonderfully pleased with yourself, Bella. I must take you to the theatre more often, if this is the result.
Oh, Jack, I wish you could.
I don't see why we shouldn't. I used to like nothing so much when I was a boy. In fact, you may hardly believe it, Bella, but I even had an ambition to be an actor myself at one time.
I quite believe it. Come along to your tea now.
You know, Bella, that must be quite a superb sensation. To take a part, lose oneself entirely in the character of someone else. I flatter myself I could have made an actor.
Why, of course. You were cut out for it. Anyone can see that.
No. Do you think so? Seriously? I always felt a faint tinge of regret. Of course, one would have required training, but I believe I should have made out. Might have reached the top of the tree, for all I know. To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them.
You see how fine your voice is? Oh, you've made a great mistake.
I wonder.
Then, if you had been a famous actor, I should have had a free seat to come and watch you every night of my life, and call to you at the stage door afterwards. Wouldn't that have been paradise?
A paradise of which you would soon tire, my dear. I have no doubt that after a few nights you'd be staying at home again, just as you do now.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. I should have to keep my eye on you for all the hussies that would be after you.
There would be hussies after me, would there? That is an added inducement, then.
Yes, I know what you read, but you wouldn't escape me. Oh, they look delicious. Aren't you glad I thought of them? Jack, you must forgive me chattering on like this, but I'm feeling so happy.
I can see that, my dear.
I'm going to the play. Well, here you are. I used to adore these as a child, didn't you? How long has it been since we've had them? We haven't had them since we were married, anyway, or have we?
I don't know, I'm sure. I don't know, Bella.
What is it? What's the matter? What is it
I
now?
have no desire to upset you, Bella, but I have just observed something very much amiss. If you will rectify it at once, while I am not looking, we will assume that it has not happened.
Amiss? What's amiss? Oh, don't turn your back on me. What has happened?
You know perfectly well what has happened, and if you will rectify it at once, I will say no more about it.
But I don't know. I don't know. You have left your tea. Tell me what it is. Tell me.
Are you trying to make a fool of me, Bella? What I refer to is on the wall behind you. If you will put it back, I will say no more about it.
The wall behind me? What? Oh, yes. The picture has been taken down. Yes, the picture. Who has taken it down? Why has it been taken down?
Yes. Why has it been taken down? Why, indeed. You alone can answer that, Bella. Why was it taken down before? Will you please take it from wherever you have hidden it and put it back on the wall again?
But I haven't hidden it, Jack. I didn't do it. Oh, for God's sake, look at me. I didn't do it. I don't know where it is. Someone else must have done it.
Someone else? Are you suggesting, perhaps, that I should play such a fantastic and wicked trick?
No, dear, no. But someone else. Before God, I didn't do it. Someone else, dear, someone
Will you
else.
please leave go? We will see about someone else.
Oh, don't ring the bell, Jack. Don't ring it. Don't call the servants in to witness my shame. It's not my shame, for I haven't done it, but don't call them. Tell them not to come. Let's talk of this between ourselves. Don't call that girl in.
Will you please leave go of me and sit down there? Someone else, eh? Well, we shall see. You had better pull yourself together, hadn't you? Ah, Elizabeth. Come in, please, Elizabeth. Shut the door. Come in. Come into the room. Now, Elizabeth, do you notice anything amiss in this room? Look carefully around the walls and see if you notice anything amiss. Well, Elizabeth, what do you notice?
Nothing, sir. Except the picture's been taken down.
Exactly. The picture has been taken down. You noticed at once. Now, was that picture in its place when you dusted the room this morning?
Yes, sir. It was, sir. I don't understand, sir.
Neither do I, Elizabeth. Neither do I. And now, before you go, just one question. Was it you who removed that picture, Elizabeth?
No, sir. Of course I ain't.
You did not. And have you ever, at any time, removed that picture from its proper place?
No, sir. Never, sir. Why should I, sir?
Indeed. Why should you? Now, Elizabeth, fetch that Bible from my desk. Now, Elizabeth, will you kiss that Bible? Will you, as a token of your truthfulness? Very well, you may go. Put it on the table. And please send Nancy in here at once.
Yes.
Jack, spare me that girl. Don't call that girl in. I'll say anything. I'll say that I did it. I did it, Jack. I did it. Don't call that girl in, please.
Will you have the goodness to control yourself? Come in.
Yes, sir. Did you want me?
Yes, I do want you, Nancy. If you will look at the wall behind the secretary, you will see that the picture has gone.
Why, so it has. What a run,
I did not ask for any comment on your part, Nancy. Kindly be less insolent and answer what I ask you. Did you take that picture down, or did you not?
Me? Of course I did. What should I want to move for, sir?
Very good. Now, will you kiss this Bible as a solemn oath that you did not? And you may go.
Willingly, sir. If I'd have done it, I'd...
That is all, Nancy. You may go. There. I think we may now be said to have
Give me that Bible.
conclusively-
Give it to me. Let me kiss it too. There, do you see that I kiss
For
it?
God's sake, be careful what you do. Do you desire to commit sacrilege above all else?
It is no sacrilege. Someone else has committed sacrilege. Now see, I swear before God Almighty that I did not touch that picture. There.
Then by God you are mad. And you don't know what you do. You unhappy wretch. You're stark, gibbering mad like your wretched mother before you.
Jack, you promised you would never say that again.
The time has come to face facts, Bella. If this progresses, you will not be much longer under my protection.
Jack, I'm going to make a last appeal to you. I'm going to make a last appeal. I'm desperate, Jack. Can't you see that I'm desperate? If you can't, then you must have a heart of stone.
Very well. What do you wish to say?
Jack, I may be going mad, like my poor mother, but if I am mad, then you have got to treat me gently. Jack, before God, I never lied to you knowingly. If I've taken that picture down, I have not known it. I have not known it. If I took it down on those other occasions, I did not know it either. Jack, if I steal your things, your rings, your keys, your pencils, and your handkerchiefs, and you find them later lying hidden at the bottom of my workbox, as indeed you do, then I do not know that I have done it. If I commit these fantastic, meaningless mischiefs, so meaningless, why should I want to take a picture down from its place? Jack, if I do these things, then I am certainly going off my head, and must be treated kindly and gently so that I may get well. You've got to bear with me, Jack. Bear with me, not storm and rage. God knows I'm trying, Jack. Oh, for God's sake, believe me that I'm trying and be kind to me.
Bella, have you any idea where that picture is now?
Yes. I suppose it's behind the secretary.
Will you please go and look?
Yes. Yes, it's here.
Then you did know where it was, Bella. You did know where it was.
No, I only supposed it was. was because it was found there before. It was found there twice before. Can't you see? I didn't know.
There is no sense in walking about the room with a picture in your hands, Bella. Go and put it back in its proper place.
Oh, look at our tea. We were having our tea with
Now
muffins.
then, Bella. I said a moment ago that we have got to face facts, and that is what we have got to do. I am not going to say anything at the moment, for my feelings are running too high. In fact, I'm going out immediately, and I suggest that you go to your room and lie down for a little in the dark.
No, not my room. For God's sake, don't send me to my room.
There is no question of sending you to your room, Bella. You know perfectly well that you may do exactly as you please.
Jack, I feel faint. I feel faint.
Very well. Take things quietly and come and lie down here. Where are your salts? Here they are. Now I am going to leave you in peace.
Have you got to go? Must you go? Must you always leave me alone after these dreadful scenes?
Now, no argument, please. I had to go in any case after tea. I'm merely leaving you a little earlier, that's all. Now, is there anything I can get for you?
No, Jack dear, nothing. You go.
Very good. Oh, by the way, I shall be passing the grocer on my way, and I may as well pay that bill of his and get it done with. Where is it, my dear? I gave it to you, didn't I?
Yes, dear. It's on the secretary.
Don't move. Don't move. I can find it. I should be glad to get the thing off my chest. Where is it, my dear? Is it in one of these drawers?
No, it's on top. I put it there this afternoon.
All right. We'll find it. We'll find it. Are you sure it's here, dear? There's nothing here except some writing paper.
Jack, I'm quite sure it is there. Will you look carefully, please?
All right. Lie down. It's of no importance. I'll tell you. No, it's not here. It must be in one of these drawers.
It is not in one of the drawers. I put it in myself. Now you're going to say this is gone. Where is it? Where is it? I put it here. Now you're going to say I've hidden it.
My God! What is this new trick you're playing upon me?
I laid it here. It was here. It's a plot. It's a filthy plot. You're all against me.
Control yourself.
It's a plot.
Will you control yourself? Now listen. Listen to me, madam. If you utter another sound, I'll knock you down and drag you to your room and lock you in darkness for a week. I've been too lenient with you, and I mean to alter my tactics.
God help me. God help me.
May God help you indeed. Now listen to me. I am going to leave you until 10 o'clock. In that time, you will recover that bill and admit to me that you have lied and purposely concealed it. If not, you will take the consequences. You are going to see a doctor, madam. More than one doctor. And they shall decide what this means. Do you understand me?
God, be patient with me. If I am mad, be patient with me.
I have been patient with you. Controlled myself long enough. It is now for you to control yourself or take the consequences. Think upon that, Bella.
Oh, Jack, don't leave me. Jack, please. You're still going to take me to the theatre, aren't you?
What a question to ask me at such a time. No, madam. Emphatically, I am not. If you play fair by me, I'll play fair by you. But if we are going to be enemies, you and I, you will not prosper. Believe me.
Yes, what is it, Elizabeth? Leave me alone.
Madam, there's somebody called.
Who is it? I don't want to be disturbed.
It's a gentleman, madam. He wants to see you.
Tell him to go. He wants to see my husband. My husband is out.
No, madam, he wants to see you. You must see him, madam.
Leave me alone. Tell him to go away. I want to be left alone.
Madam, I don't know what's been going on between you and the master, but you've got to hold up, madam. You've got to hold up.
I am going out of my mind, Elizabeth. That is what's going on.
Don't talk like that, madam. You've got to be brave. You mustn't go on lying here in the dark, or your mind will go. You must see him. It's you he wants, not the master. He's waiting to see you. Come, madam, it'll take you out of yourself.
Oh, my God. What new torment is this? I am not in a fit state, I tell you.
Come, madam, I'll turn up the lights. There, now you'll be all right.
Elizabeth, what have you done? I can't have anyone in. I'm not fit to be seen.
You look all right, madam. You mustn't take on so. Now, I'll call him in. Will you come in, please, sir? Right this way.
Thank you. Ah, good evening. Mrs. Manningham, I believe. How are you, Mrs. Manningham?
How do you do? I'm very much afraid
You're
that...
very much afraid you don't know me from Adam. That's about the root of the matter, isn't it?
No, it's not that. But no doubt you've come to see my husband.
Oh, no. You couldn't be further out. In fact, I have chosen this precise moment to call when I knew your husband was out. May I take off my things and sit down?
Why, yes, I suppose you may.
You're a good deal younger and more attractive than I thought, you know. But you're looking very pale. Have you been crying?
Really, I'm afraid I don't understand at all.
You will do so, madam, very shortly. You're the lady who's going off her head, aren't you?
What made you say that? Who are you? What have you come to talk about?
Oh, now you're running away with things, Mrs. Manningham. Asking me a great deal I can't answer all at once. Instead of that, I'm going to ask you a question or two. Now, please, will you come here and give me your hands? Now, Mrs. Manningham, I want you to take a good look at me and see whether you are looking at someone to whom you can give your trust. I'm a perfect stranger to you, and you can read very little in my face besides that. But I can read a great deal in yours.
What? What can you read in mine?
Why, madam, I can read the tokens of one who has traveled a very long way along the path of sorrow and doubt, and will have, I fear, to travel a little further yet before she comes to the end. But I think she is coming to the end for all that. Now, are you going to trust me and listen to me?
Who are you? God knows I need help.
I very much doubt whether God knows anything of the sort, Mrs. Manningham. If he did, I'm sure he would have come to your aid before this. But I am here, and so you must give me your faith.
Who are you? Are you a doctor?
Nothing so learned, ma'am. Just a plain police detective.
Police detective?
Yes, or was, some years ago. At any rate, still detective enough to see that you've been interrupted in your tea. Wouldn't you start again and let me have a cup?
Yes, I will give you a cup. It only wants water.
You never heard of the celebrated Sergeant Ruff, Mrs. Manningham? Sergeant Ruff, who solved the Claudesley diamond case. Sergeant Ruff, who hunted down the Camberwell dogs. Sergeant Ruff, who brought Sandham himself to justice. Or were all such sensations before your time?
Sandham? Yes, I've heard of Sandham. Sandham the murderer, the throttler.
Yes, madam, Sandham the throttler. And you are now looking at the man who gave Sandom to the man who throttled him. And that was the common hangman. In fact, Mrs. Manningham, you have in front of you one who was quite a personage in his day, believe it or not.
I quite believe it. Won't you sit down? I'm afraid it won't be very hot.
Thank you. How long have you been married, Mrs. Manningham?
5 years, and a little.
And where have you lived during all that time? Not here, have you?
No. First we went abroad. Then we lived in Yorkshire, and 6 months ago my husband bought this house.
You bought it?
Yes, I had a bit of money. My husband thought it would be an excellent investment.
You had a bit of money, eh? That's very good. Now, does your husband always leave you alone like this in the evenings?
Yes, he goes to his club, I believe, and does business.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
And does he give you a free run of the whole house while he is out?
yes. Well, no, not the top floor. Why do you ask?
Ah, not the top floor.
No. No, would you have some sugar?
Ah, thanks.
Now, what were you saying?
Before I go any further, Mrs. Manningham, I must tell you, there is a leakage in this household. You have a maid called Nancy,
Yes.
and Nancy walks out of an evening with a young man named Booker in my employ. I only live a few streets away from you, you know.
Oh, yes?
Well, there is very little which goes on in this house which is not described in detail to Booker. And from that quarter it reaches me.
I knew it. I knew she talked. Now that I know it, she shall be dismissed.
Oh, no such fate is going to overtake her at the moment, Mrs. Manningham. In fact, I rather fancy you are going to be heavily in debt to your maid, Nancy. If it were not for her indiscretions, I should not be here now, should I?
What do you mean? What is this mystery? You must not keep me in the dark. What is it?
I'm afraid I shall have to keep you in the dark a little longer, Mrs. Manningham, as I am still quite far down in the dark myself. Could I have another lump of sugar in this?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Now, we were talking about the top floor. There is a bedroom above this, and above that again is the top floor. Is that right?
Yes, but it's shut up. My husband thought we wouldn't need the upstairs quarters until there were children.
You've never been up to the top floor, Mrs. Manningham?
No one goes up there.
Not even a servant to dust?
No.
Rather funny.
Funny? I don't know.
I think it is. Now, Mrs. Manningham, to ask a personal question. When did you first get the notion into your head that your reason was playing you tricks?
How do you know?
Never mind how I know. When did it begin?
I always had that dread. My mother died insane when she was quite young, when she was my age. But only in the last 6 months, in this house, things began to happen.
Which are driving you mad with fear.
Yes, which are driving me mad with fear.
Is it the house itself you fear, Mrs. Manningham?
Yes, I suppose it is. I hate the house. I always did.
And has the top floor anything to do with it?
Yes, that's how all this dreadful horror began.
Now you interest me beyond measure. Do tell me about the top floor.
I don't know what to say. It all sounds so incredible. It's when I'm alone at night. I get the idea that someone is walking about up there. Up there. At night after my husband goes out, I hear noises from my bedroom, but I'm too afraid to go up.
Have you told your husband about this?
No, I'm afraid to. He gets angry with me. He says I imagine things which don't exist.
It never struck you, did it, that it might be your own husband walking about up there?
Yes. Yes, that is what I thought, but I thought I must be mad. Tell me how you knew.
Why don't you tell me first how you knew, Mrs. Manningham?
It's true, then. It's true. I knew it. I knew it. When he goes out, he comes back. He comes back and walks about up there. He comes back like a ghost. How does he get up there?
Ah, that is what we are going to find out, Mrs. Manningham. But there are such commonplace resources as roofs and fire escapes, you know. Now, don't look so frightened. Your husband is no ghost, believe me. And you are far from mad. Now, why don't you tell me what first made you think it was him?
It was the light, the gas light. It went up and it went down. Thank God I can tell this to someone at last. I don't know who you are, but I must tell you.
Now, try to calm yourself. You can tell me just as well sitting down, can't you?
Yes.
Won't you sit down? Now, the light, you say. Did you see a light from a window?
No. In this house, I can tell everything by the light of the gas. You see the mantel there? Now it's burning full. But if an extra light were put on in the kitchen, or someone lit it in the bedroom, then this one would go down. It's the same all over the house.
Oh, yes, that's just a question of insufficient pressure. It's the same in mine. But please, go on.
Every night after he goes out, I find myself waiting for something. Then all at once, I look around the room and notice that the light is slowly going down. Then I hear tapping sounds, persistent tapping sounds. At first I tried not to notice it, but after a while it began to get on my nerves. I would go all over the house to see if anyone had put on an extra light. They never had. And it's always at the same time, about 10 minutes after he goes out. That's what gave me the idea that somehow it was he who was coming back, and that it was he who was walking about up there. I go up to my bedroom, but I daren't stay because I hear noises. I want to scream, to run out of the house. I sit here for hours, terrified, waiting for him to come back. And I always know when he's coming back, always. Suddenly the lights go up again, and 10 minutes later I hear his key in the lock, and he's back.
How very strange indeed. You know, Mrs. Manningham, you should have been a policeman.
Are you laughing at me? Do you think I imagine everything too?
Oh, no. I was merely praising the keenness of your observation. I not only think you are right in your supposition, I think you may have made a very important discovery, and one which may very well have far-reaching consequences.
Far-reaching? How?
Well, let's leave that for the moment. Now, tell me, that is not the only cause, is it, which has given you reason to doubt your sanity? What else has been happening? Now, don't be afraid to tell me.
Yes, there are other things. I hardly dare speak of it. It has been going on for so long now. This business with the gas has only brought it to a head. It seems that my mind and my memory are beginning to play me tricks.
Tricks? What sort of tricks? When?
Incessantly, but more and more of late. He gives me little things to look after, and when he asks for them back, they are gone and can never be found. Then he misses his rings or his studs, and I will hunt the place for them, and he will find them later, lying hidden at the bottom of my workbox. Twice the door of this room has been found locked, and the key vanished. That also was found at the bottom of my workbox. Only today, before you came, that picture had been taken down from its place and hidden. Who could have done these things but myself? I try to remember. I break my heart trying to remember, but I can't. Then there was that terrible business about the dog.
The dog?
We have a little dog. A few weeks ago it was found with its paw hurt. He believes it. God, how I tell you what he believes. That I hurt the dog. He does not let me near the dog now. He keeps it in the kitchen and I'm not allowed to see it. I begin to doubt, don't you see? I begin to believe that I imagine everything. Perhaps I do. Are you here? Are you a dream too? Who are you? I'm afraid they are going to lock me up.
You know, Mrs. Manningham, it has occurred to me that you would be all the better for a little medicine.
Medicine? Are you a doctor? You're not a doctor.
No, I'm not a doctor. But that doesn't mean a little medicine would do you any harm.
But I have medicine. He makes me take it. It does me no good, and I hate it. How can medicine help a mind that's ill?
Mine is an exceptional medicine. I have some with me. You must try it.
What medicine is it?
Well, you shall sample it and see. You see, Mrs. Manningham, it has been employed by humanity for several ages for the purpose of the instantaneous removal of dark fears and doubts. That seems to fit you, doesn't it?
The removal of doubt. How can a medicine affect that?
That we don't know. The fact remains that it does. You see, it comes from Scotland. Now, have you such a thing handy as 2 glasses or a couple of cups?
Why? Are you having some too?
Oh, yes, I'm having some above all things. We could use these cups if you like.
No, I will get 2.
Thank you. Very thin. We shan't be long.
What is it? I so dislike medicine. What does it taste like?
Delicious. Something between ambrosia and methylated spirits. You mean to say you've never tasted good Scotch whiskey, Mrs. Manningham?
Whiskey. But I must not take whiskey. I can't do that.
You underestimate your powers, Mrs. Manningham. You see, I can't have you thinking that you can't trust your reason. This will give you faith in your reason like nothing else. Now, pour a little water. Now, tell me, Mrs. Manningham, have you ever heard of the cabman's friend?
The cabman's friend.
Yes. How wonderful to see you smile. Now, here's to your very good health. Go on. There now. Is it so nasty?
No, I rather like it. My mother used to give us this as children when we had the fever.
Then you're a hardened whiskey drinker. But you'll enjoy it better sitting down.
Yes. Now, what were you saying? Who is the cabman's friend?
The cabman's friend. You should ask me who was the cabman's friend, Mrs. Manningham, for she was an old lady who died many years ago.
An old lady years ago. What has she to do with me?
Oh, a great deal, I fancy. If you will follow me patiently. Her name was Barlow, Alice Barlow, and she was an old lady of great wealth and decided eccentricities. In fact, her principal mania in life seems to have been the protection of cabmen. Now, I know that sounds an extraordinary hobby, but in her odd way, she did a lot of good. You see, she provided these men with clothing, shelters, pensions, and so forth. And that was her little contribution to the sum of the world's happiness. Or rather, it was her little stand against the sum of the world's pain. Now, there is a great deal of pain in this world, Mrs. Manningham, you know. Well, it was not my pleasure to know her, but it was my duty on just one occasion to see her. That was when her throat was cut open and she lay dead on the floor of her own house.
Oh, how horrible. Do you mean she was murdered?
Oh, yes, she was murdered. I was a comparatively young officer at the time. It made an extremely horrible, in fact, I may well say, a lasting impression on me. You see, the murderer was never found, but the motive was obvious enough. Her husband had left her the Barlow rubies, and it was well known that she kept them without any proper precautions in her bedroom on an upper floor. She lived alone, except for a deaf servant in the basement. Well, for that, she paid the penalty of her life.
But I don't see
There were
that.
some sensational features about the case. The man seemed to have got in at about 10 at night and stayed until dawn. Now, apart presumably from the famous rubies, there were only a few trinkets taken, but the entire house had been turned upside down. And in the upper room, every single thing was flung about or torn open. Even the cushions of the chairs had been ripped open with his bloody knife. And the police concluded that it must have been a revengeful maniac as well as a robber. I had other theories, but I was a nobody then and not in charge of the case.
What were your theories?
Well, it seemed to me, from all that I gathered here and there, that the old lady might have been an eccentric, but that she was by no means a fool. It seemed to me that she might have been one too clever for this man. We presume he killed her to silence her. But what then? What if she had not been so careless? What if she had got those jewels cunningly hidden away in some inconceivable place, in the walls, floored down, bricked in maybe? What if the only person who could tell him where they were was lying dead on the floor? Now, would not that account, Mrs. Manningham, for all that strange confusion in which the place was found? Can't you picture him, Mrs. Manningham? Searching through the night, ransacking the place, hour after hour, growing more and more desperate, until at last the dawn comes and he has to slink into the pale street, the blood and wreckage of the night behind. And the deaf servant in the basement sleeping like a log through it all.
Oh, how horrible. How horrible indeed. And was the man never found?
No, Mrs. Manningham, the man was never found. Nor have the Barlow rubies ever come to light.
Well, then perhaps he found them after all and may still be alive today.
I believe he is almost certainly alive today, but I don't think he found what he was looking for. That is, if my theory is right.
Then the jewels may still be where the old lady hid them.
Precisely, Mrs. Manningham. If my theory is right, then the jewels must still be where she hid them. The official conclusion was quite otherwise. The police, naturally and quite excusably, presumed that the murderer had got them. There was no reopening of matters in those days. The public soon forgot about it. I had almost forgotten it myself. But it would be funny, wouldn't it, Mrs. Manningham, if after all these years, I should turn out to be right.
Yes, yes indeed. But what has this to do with me?
Ah! That is indeed the question. What? What has the murder of an old lady 15 years ago to do with an attractive, though I am afraid at present rather pale and wan young woman who thinks she is going out of her mind? Well, believe there is a link, however remote, wild, and strange it may be. That is why I am here.
It's so confusing.
Do you conceive, Mrs. Manningham, that that man might never have given up hope of one day getting at the treasure which lay there?
Yes, yes, possibly.
Can you conceive that he might have waited years, gone abroad, got married even, until at last his chance came to resume the search begun on that terrible night? You don't follow where I'm leading at all, do you, Mrs. Manningham?
Follow you? I think so.
You know, Mrs. Manningham, of the theory that the criminal always returns to the scene of his crime.
Yes.
Yes. But in this case, there is more than morbid compulsion. There is real treasure there to be unearthed, if only he can search again. Search methodically. Search without fear of interruption, without arousing suspicion. Well, how would he do that? Now, don't you think that... What is the matter, Mrs. Manningham?
Quiet. Be quiet. He has come back. Look at the light. It is going down. Wait. There. You see? He has come back. He is upstairs now.
Dear me now. How odd that is. How very odd indeed.
He is in the house, I tell you. Oh, you must go. He will know you are here. Please go.
How dark it is. You can hardly see to read.
He is in the house. Please go.
Quiet, Mrs. Manningham. Quiet. You have got to keep your head. Don't you see my meaning yet? Don't you realize that this was the house?
House? What house?
The old lady's house, Mrs. Manningham. This house, these rooms, These walls. 15 years ago, Alice Barlow lay dead on the floor in this room. 15 years ago, the man who murdered her ransacked this house, below and above, but could not find what he sought. What if he is still searching, Mrs. Manningham? What if he is up there now, still searching? Now, do you see why you must keep your head?
But my husband is up there.
Precisely that, madam. Your husband. See, I'm afraid you are married to a tolerably dangerous gentleman.
This house. How do you know it was this house?
Why, ma'am, because I was on the case and came here myself, that's all.
The idea is mad. How can you imagine my husband is what you imagine he may be?
Mrs. Manningham,
Yes.
when the police came into this place 15 years ago, as you can understand, there was a great deal of routine work to be done. Interviewing of relatives and friends and so forth. Most of that was left to me.
Well,
Well, amongst all the relations and acquaintances, nephews, nieces, etc. that I interviewed, was a young man of the name of Sidney Power. Now, I suppose you have never heard that name before, have you?
Power?
Yes, ma'am. Sidney Power. The name conveys nothing to you.
Sidney Power. No.
Well, he was a sort of distant cousin, apparently very much attached to the old lady and even assisting her in her good works. The thing was that I remembered his face. It took me a whole day to recollect where I had seen it before. I saw that face a few weeks ago. But at last I remembered.
Well, what of it? What if you did remember him?
It was not so much my remembering Mr. Sidney Power, Mrs. Manningham. What startled me was the lady on his arm and the locality in which I saw him.
Oh? And who was the lady on his arm?
You were the lady on his arm, Mrs. Manningham, and you were walking down this street.
What are you saying? Do you mean you think my husband is this Mr. Power?
Not exactly. Or if my theory is
What are you
right,
saying? You stand there talking riddles. You are so cold. You are as cold and heartless as he is.
no, Mrs. Manningham, I am not cold, nor am I talking in riddles. I am just trying to preserve a cold and calculating tone, because you are up against the most awful moment in your life, and your whole future will depend on what you are going to do in the next hour, nothing less. You have got to strike for your freedom, and strike now, for the moment may not come again.
Strike.
You are not going out of your mind, Mrs. Manningham. You are slowly, methodically, systematically being driven out of your mind. Why? Because you are married to a criminal maniac who is afraid you are beginning to know too much. A criminal maniac who steals back every night into this house looking for the thing he could not find 15 years ago. Those are the facts, wild and incredible as they may seem. His name is no more Manningham than mine is. He is Sidney Power, and he murdered Alice Barlow in this house. After that, he changed his name. He has waited all these years until he found it possible to acquire this house in a legal way. He then acquired the empty house next door. Every night for the last few weeks, he has entered that house from the back, climbed onto its roof, and entered this house from the skylight. I know this because I have seen him do it. You have watched the gaslight, and without knowing it, been aware of the same thing. He is up there now. Why he should employ this mad, secretive, circuitous way of getting at what he wants, God himself only knows. Perhaps for the same reason he employs this mad, secretive, circuitous way of getting rid of you. That is by driving you mad and into a lunatic asylum.
Why?
And the fact that you had some money, enough to buy this house, is part of it, I expect. But now that he has got that out of you, he doesn't need you anymore. Thank God, you are not married to him. Now I have come here to save you from the workings of his wicked mind.
Not married. Not married. He married me.
I have no doubt he did, Mrs. Manningham. Unfortunately, or rather, fortunately, he contracted the same sort of union with another lady several years before he met you. Moreover, that lady is still alive, and the English law has a highly exacting taste in monogamy. You see, I have been finding some things out about Mr. Sidney Power.
Are you speaking the truth? My God, are you speaking the truth? Where is this wife now?
I'm afraid she is the length of the world away, on the continent of Australia, to be precise, where I know for a fact he spent 2 years. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Oh, yes. If only I could find her, things would be easier. And that's the root of the problem, Mrs. Manningham. So far, I am only dealing in guesses and half-facts. I have got to have evidence. That is why I've come to see you. You have got to give me the evidence or help me find it.
This is my husband. Don't you understand? This is my husband. You asked me to betray the man who married me.
By that you mean, of course, the man who betrayed you into thinking you were married to him, don't you?
But I am married to him. You must go. I must think this thing out. You must go. I must cling to the man I married, mustn't I?
Indeed. Cling to him by all means. But don't imagine that you are the only piece of ivy on the garden wall. You may cling to him if you desire, as his fancy women in the low resorts of the town cling to him. This wall you have to cling to now.
Women, what are you suggesting?
I am not suggesting anything. I am merely telling you what I have seen. He comes to life at night, this gentleman upstairs, in more ways than one. I have made it my business to follow him on some of his less serious excursions. And I can promise you, he has a taste in unemployed actresses, which he is at no pains to conceal.
God in heaven, what am I to believe?
Mrs. Manningham, it is hard to take everything from you, but you are no more tied to this man. You are under no more obligation to him than those wretched women in those places. You must learn to be thankful for that.
What do you want me to do? What do you want?
I want his papers, Mrs. Manningham. His identity. There is some clue somewhere in this house, and we have got to get at it. Now, where does he keep his papers?
Papers? I know of no papers. Unless his desk.
Yes, his desk. His desk.
Yes, there. But he keeps it always locked. I have never seen it open.
Oh, he keeps it locked, does he?
Yes, it is just his desk, his bureau.
Well, we will just have to have a look inside.
But it is locked. How can you if it is locked?
Oh, it doesn't look so very formidable. You know, Mrs. Manningham, one of the greatest regrets of my life is that fate never made me one of two things. One was a gardener, the other, a burglar. Both quiet occupations, Mrs. Manningham. As for burgling, I think if I had started young and worked my way up, I should have been a genius. Now, let's have a look at this.
But you must not touch this. He will know what you have done.
Come now, madam. You're working with me, aren't you? Not against me? Yes? Yes, now. Do you mind if I take off my coat? I'm a man who never feels at work until his coat's off. Rather a saucy shirt, don't you think? You had no idea I was such a dandy, did you? Now, let's have a real look at this.
But you must not tamper with that. He will know what you have done.
Oh, not if we're clever enough. This one doesn't even ask for cleverness. You see, Mrs. Manningham, there are all manners of ways.
Stop. Stop talking. Haven't you noticed?
Noticed?
Haven't you noticed something?
I've only...
Quiet. Yes, I was right. The light. It's going up. He's coming back.
The light?
Yes. There, you see? He's coming back. Oh, you must go. He's coming back and you must go.
I wonder. Yes. Oh, well. Now, would you be so good as to ring that bell for Elizabeth?
Elizabeth, why do you want her?
Do as I say and ring the bell at once, please. Or you can go and fetch her if you like.
Oh, please go. You must go at once. Why do you want Elizabeth?
All in good time. He's not going to jump through the window, you know. In fact, he can't possibly be round at our front door in less than 5 minutes, unless he's a magician. Now, do you see anything I've missed?
No. No. Oh, yes, here. The whiskey.
Oh, yes. Told you you'd make a good policeman. Don't forget the glasses.
Oh, please go. Please, please do.
Ah, Elizabeth, come here, will you?
Yes, sir.
Elizabeth, you and I have got to do some quite calm but rather quick thinking. You told me you were anxious to help your mistress, Elizabeth.
Yes, sir. I told you I was, sir, but what's it all about?
Are you anxious to help your mistress blindly, without asking any questions?
Yes, sir. But you see, sir.
Come now, Elizabeth, are you or are you not?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, Elizabeth, Mrs. Manningham and I have reason to suppose that in about 5 minutes' time, the master is going to return to this house. He mustn't see me leaving. Would you be so good as to take me down to your kitchen and hide me away for a short space of time? You can put me in the oven if you like.
Yes, sir. But you
Oh,
see,
please
sir.
go. He won't see you if you go now.
What were you saying, Elizabeth?
Yes, sir. You could come to the kitchen, but Nancy's down there.
Nancy? What the devil's this now? I thought this was Nancy's afternoon off. Was it not arranged that I should call when Nancy was away?
Yes, sir, but for some reason she stayed on. I think she's got a young man, and I couldn't make her go, could I, sir? If I'd have
All
done
right,
that,
all right. And she was here when I arrived, and she knows I am here. Is that it?
Oh, no, sir. She was in the scullery when I answered the door, and I told her it was a man who'd come to the wrong house. She hasn't no idea, sir, and I'm sure...
All right, all right. Well, that's better news. But it means you can't entertain me in the kitchen. Where are you going to hide me, Elizabeth? Make up your mind quickly.
I don't know, sir. Unless you go to the bedroom. Mine and Nancy's, I mean.
That sounds altogether entrancing. Shall we go there now?
Yes, sir, but supposing Nancy went up there before she goes out.
You're a good soul, Elizabeth. You think of everything. Where does this lead to? What's the matter with this?
It's where he dresses, where he keeps his clothes. Yes, sir. Go in there, sir. He won't see you there. There's a big wardrobe at the back.
Excuse me.
Oh, Elizabeth.
It's all right, Mum. Don't take on so. It'll be all right.
I'm sure he ought to go.
No, Mum. He knows best. He's bound to know best.
Perfect accommodation. Yes, there he is. Now, we have really got to hurry.
Yes.
Get off to bed, Mrs. Manningham, quick. And you, Elizabeth, go to your room. You can't get downstairs in time. Hurry, please. Oh, Elizabeth,
Yes.
turn down that lamp, will you?
To bed. Am I to go to bed?
Yes, quick, he's coming, don't you understand? Go to bed and stay there. You have a bad headache. A bad headache. Will you go in heaven's name?
Did you ring, sir?
Yes, I did. Where is Mrs. Manningham then tonight?
I think she's gone to bed, sir. I think she had a bad headache and went to bed.
Oh, indeed. And how long has she been in bed? Do you know?
She went up just a little while ago, sir. I think, sir.
I see. Then we must be quiet, mustn't we? Walk about like cats. Can you walk about like a cat, Elizabeth?
Yes, sir. I think so, sir.
Very well, Elizabeth. Walk about like a cat. All right, that's all.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Elizabeth,
Yes, sir.
why haven't you cleared away the tea things?
I'm so sorry, sir. I was really just about to.
Yes, I think you had better clear away the tea things, Elizabeth.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir, but were you going to have some supper?
Oh yes, I'm going to have supper. The question is, am I going to have supper here?
Yes, sir. Are you having it out, sir?
Yes, I'm having it out. I have come back to change my linen.
Do you want a fresh collar, sir? Shall I get you a fresh collar?
Why, do you know where my collars are kept?
Why, yes, sir. In your room there, sir. Shall I get you one?
What a lot you know, Elizabeth. And do you know the sort of collar I want tonight?
Why, yes, sir. I think I know the sort of collar.
Then all I can say is you know a great deal more than I do. No. I think you should let me choose my own collar. That is, if I have your permission, Elizabeth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What did you think of Mrs. Manningham tonight, Elizabeth?
Mrs. Manningham, sir. In what way do you mean?
Oh, just as regards her general health, Elizabeth.
I don't know, sir. She certainly seems very unwell.
Yes. I doubt if you can guess to what extent she is unwell. Or are you beginning to guess?
I don't know, sir.
I'm afraid I was compelled to drag you and Nancy into our troubles tonight. Perhaps I should not have done that.
It all seems very sad, sir.
Yes. I'm at my wit's end. You know that, don't you?
I expect you are, sir.
I have tried everything. Kindness, patience, cunning, even harshness to bring her to her senses, but nothing will stop these wild hallucinations. Nothing will stop these wicked pranks and tricks.
It seems very terrible, sir.
You don't know a quarter of it, Elizabeth. You only see what is forced upon your attention, as it was tonight. You have no conception of what goes on all the time. No, not this one.
Do you want another tie, sir?
Yes. I suppose you know about Mrs. Manningham's mother, Elizabeth?
No, sir. Whatever, sir?
Not of the manner in which she died?
No, sir.
She died in the madhouse, Elizabeth, without any brain at all in the end.
Oh, sir, how terrible, sir.
Yes, terrible indeed. The doctors could do nothing. You know, don't you, that I shall have to bring a doctor to Mrs. Manningham before long. I have fought against it to the last, but it can't be kept a secret much longer.
No, sir. No, sir.
I mean to say, you know what goes on. You can testify to what goes on, can't you?
Indeed, sir. Yes.
Indeed, you may have to testify in the end. Do you realize that? Eh?
Yes, sir. I would only wish to help you both, sir.
Yes. I believe you there, Elizabeth. You're a very good soul. I sometimes wonder how you put up with things in this household. This dark household. I wonder why you do not go. You're very loyal.
Always loyal to you, sir. Always loyal to you.
There now. How touching. You will be repaid for what you have said, Elizabeth, and repaid in more ways than one. You understand that, don't you?
Thank you, sir. I only want to serve, sir.
Yes, I know that. Well, I'm going out. fact, I'm even going to try to be a little gay. Can you understand that? Or do you think it is wrong?
Oh, no, sir, no. You should get all the pleasure you can, sir, while you can.
I wonder. Yes. I wonder. It's a curious existence, isn't it? Well, good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, sir. Good night.
He was right when he said you would be repaid, Elizabeth, but not in the way he thinks. Now, would you go and get Mrs. Manning?
Yes, sir.
Ah, there you are.
I saw him go.
Now, we must get back to work.
What did he want? What did he come back for?
He only came back to change his clothes.
But what if he comes back again? There is no light to warn us now.
Ah, you realize that, have you? Well, we shall just have to take that risk. Now, this should be child's play, I think. Just a little patience, a little adroitness in the use of the system. What was that? Have a look, will you? You seem to be rather bothered this evening.
It's all right. It's only Nancy. I forgot she usually leaves around this time.
She uses the front door, does she?
Oh, yes, indeed she does. She acts like the mistress in this house.
A saucy girl. Ah, here we are. Next to a key, there's nothing a lock appreciates like kindness.
Will you be able to close it again?
Oh, yes, no damage done. Let's see. Not very much here, I'm afraid. When she got there, the cupboard was bare, and so the poorly
What is that? What is that in your hand?
You recognize this?
Yes. Yes, it's my brooch. What else is there? Is there anything? My watch. My God, it's my watch.
This also is your property, then?
Yes, my watch I lost a week ago. And my brooch has been missing 3 months. And he said he would give me no more gifts because I lost them. He said that in my wickedness I hid them away. Inspector, what else is there? Is there a bill? A grocery bill?
A grocery bill? No, there doesn't
One moment.
seem to be.
One moment. This letter is from my cousin. My cousin.
Is your husband's correspondence with your relations very much to the point at the moment, Mrs. Manning?
You don't understand. When I was married, I was cast off by all my relations. I have not seen any of them since I was married. They did not approve of my choice. I've longed to see them again more than anything in the world. When we moved to London, to this house, I wrote to them. I wrote twice to them. There was never any answer. Now I see why there was never any answer. This letter is to me. It's from my cousin.
Yet you never got it. Now you're beginning to understand, Mrs. Manningham.
Let me read you what he says. Let me read it to you. Dear cousin, all of us were overjoyed to hear from you again. Overjoyed. Do you hear that? Well, he goes on to say that his family are in Devonshire and that they've gone to the country. He says that we must meet again to recapture the old ties. He says that they all want to see me. That they will give me their Devonshire cream to fatten my cheeks and their fresh air to bring the sparkle back to my eyes. They will give me, dear God, they wanted me back. They wanted me back all the time.
Poor child. You shall have your Devonshire cream, and you shall have the fresh air to bring the sparkle back into your eyes. Why, I can see a sparkle in them already. You will be brave now and trust me. You shan't have to wait long. Are you going to trust me?
Inspector, thank you for bringing me this letter. What do you want me to do?
No, for the moment, nothing. Tell me, this drawer here, you ever seen this open?
No.
I suspected as much. Well, this is going to prove a tougher proposition, I'm afraid.
What are you going to do? Are you going to force it?
If I possibly can. I don't know.
But you must not do that. What will I say to my husband when he comes home?
I have no idea what you will say to him when he comes home, Mrs. Manningham. But then I have no idea what you are going to do, Mrs. Manningham, if I have no evidence to remove you from his loving care for good.
Dear God, I'm afraid. What can I do?
There is only one thing we can do. Go ahead. If we go back now, we are lost. Now I'm going to force it and gamble on finding something. Are you with me?
But don't you see? All right. Force it, but be quick.
There's no need to hurry. He's perfectly happy where he is. Now, don't like violent methods of this sort. Makes me feel like a dentist. There. All over now.
Is there anything there? Is there anything there?
No, there's nothing yet. Nothing yet. Wait a minute. Now. Aha! Mr. Manningham. Mr. Manningham. Mr. Manningham.
Is there nothing?
No, nothing at all, I'm afraid. We have lost our gamble.
Dear me. What are we to do? What are we to do now?
Some rapid thinking at the moment. Let's get those other things back to begin with, shall we? Give me the watch and the brooch. We must put them back where they were.
Yes, here they are.
Here on the right, is it not?
Yes, that's right.
Nice piece of jewelry. When did he give you this?
Soon after we were married. But it was only second-hand.
Second hand, eh? Afraid you got everything second hand from this gentleman. Well, that's all right. Now, I must lock this again if I can. Second hand, did you say? How did you know that brooch was second hand, Mrs. Manningham?
There's an affectionate inscription to someone else on the inside.
Really? Why didn't you tell me that before?
Why, I only found it myself a little while ago.
Do you know, I have the strangest feeling I've seen this somewhere before. Where is this inscription you speak of?
It is a sort of a trick. You pull the pin at the back, it goes to the right, and then to the left.
Ah, there we are. How strange. What are these spaces here?
Well, there were some beads in it, but they were all loose and falling out, so I took them out.
There were some beads in it, but they were all loose and falling out, so you took them out. Have you got them by any chance?
Well, yes, I think so. I put them in a vase.
May I see them, please?
Yes, they should still be here.
There should be 9 altogether, I think.
Yes, that's right. I think there were. Well, here they are. And here are some of them, at any rate.
Oh, let me see them, will you? Try to find the others. Did you ever read this inscription by any chance, Mrs. Manningham?
Yes, I read it. Why?
Beloved A.B. from C.B., 1851. Does nothing strike you about that?
No, what of it? What should strike me?
I should think that were as easy as A, B, C. Have you got the others? There should be 4 more. I think, yes, that's the lot. Now tell me, Mrs. Manningham, have you ever been embraced by an elderly detective in his shirt sleeves?
What do you mean?
Well, that is your immediate fate at the moment. My dear Mrs. Manningham, my dear Mrs. Mrs. Manningham. Don't you understand?
No, what are you so excited about?
There you are, Mrs. Manningham. The Barlow rubies. Complete. 12,000 pounds worth before your very eyes. Have a good look at them before they go to the Queen.
But it couldn't be. It couldn't. They were in the vase all the time.
Don't you see? Don't you see the whole thing? This is where the old lady kept her treasure. In a common trinket she wore all the day. I knew I had seen that brooch somewhere before. Where was that? In portraits of the old lady when I was on the case. She wore it on her breast. Oh, I remember it clearly, though it was 15 years ago. 15 years? Dear God in heaven, am I not a wonderful man?
And I had it all the time. I had it all the time.
And all because he could not resist a little common theft along with the big game. Well, it is I who am after the big game now.
Are you going?
Oh, yes, I must certainly go, and very quickly at that.
But where are you going? Are you going to leave me? What are you going to do?
I am going to move heaven and earth, Mrs. Manningham. And if I have any luck, yes, it's very early yet. What time do you think he'll be back?
I don't know. He's usually not in till 11.
Ah, so I thought. Well, let us hope so. That will give me time. Give me that back now. You closed it. Yes. We will put it back where it was.
But what are you going to do?
It is not what I am going to do, Mrs. Manningham. It is what the government is going to do in the person of Sir George Raglan.
Sir George?
Yes, ma'am. Sir George Raglan. The power above all the powers that be. He knows I have come here tonight, you see. But he did not know I was going to find what I have found. Yes, I'll be done for that, I'm afraid. Well, she'll just have to risk it. Now, Miss Manningham, you will serve justice best by simply going to bed. Do you mind going to bed?
No. I will go to bed.
Good. Go there and stay there. Your headache is worse. Remember, be ill. Be anything, but stay there, you understand? I'll let myself out.
Don't leave me. Don't leave. I have a feeling. Don't leave.
A feeling? What feeling?
A feeling that something will happen if you leave. I'm afraid. I haven't the courage.
Have the goodness to stop making a fool of yourself, Mrs. Manningham. Here's your courage. Take some more of it. But don't get tipsy and don't leave it about. Goodbye.
Inspector.
Yes.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Mrs. Manningham,
Yes.
goodbye.
Yes, sir. Did you ring, sir?
Yes, Nancy, I did ring. It seems that the entire household has gone to bed without leaving me my milk and without leaving me my biscuits.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. They're only just outside. I'll bring them in. Mrs. Manningham usually gets them, doesn't she, sir? Cooks in bed, and I've only just
Quiet,
come in.
Nancy. Then perhaps you will deputize for Mrs. Manningham and bring them into the room.
Certainly, sir.
And after you do that, Nancy, will you please go upstairs and tell Mrs. Manningham that I wish to see her down here.
Yes, sir. Certainly, sir.
Well, Nancy?
She says she has a headache, sir, and is trying to sleep.
Oh, she still has a headache, has she?
Yes, sir. Is there anything else you want, sir?
Did you ever know a time when Mrs. Manningham did not have a headache, Nancy?
No, sir. Hardly ever, sir.
Do you always perform your domestic tasks in outdoor costume, Nancy?
Well, I told you, sir. I've only just come in and I heard the bell by chance.
Yes, that's just the point.
How do you mean, sir?
Would you be so good as to come closer, Nancy, where I can see you? Have you any idea of the time of day, or rather, night, Nancy?
Yes, sir. It's a little after 11, sir.
And are you aware that you came in half a minute, or even less, before myself?
Yes, I thought I saw you, sir.
Ah, you thought you saw me. Well, I certainly saw you.
Did you, sir?
Have you ever reflected, Nancy, that you are given a great deal of latitude in this house?
I don't know, sir. I don't know what latitude means.
Latitude, Nancy, means considerable liberty. Liberty to the extent of 2 nights off a week.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's all very well. It is not so well, however, when you return as late as the master of the house. We ought to keep up some pretenses, you know.
Yes, sir, we must.
Nancy,
Yes, sir?
where the devil have you been tonight, anyway?
Only with some friends, sir.
You know, Nancy, when you say friends, I have an extraordinary idea that you mean gentlemen friends.
Well, sir, possibly I might.
You know, gentlemen friends have been known to take decided liberties with young ladies like yourself. Are you alive to such a possibility?
No, sir, not with me. I can look after myself.
Are you always so anxious to look after yourself?
No, sir. Not always. Perhaps.
You know, Nancy, pretty as your bonnet is, it is not anything near so pretty as your hair beneath it. Won't you take it off and let me see it?
Very good. Comes off easy enough, sir. There. Is there anything more you want, sir?
Yes. Possibly. Come here. Will you, Nancy?
Yes, sir? Is there anything you want, sir? What do you want? There. Can she do that for you?
Who can you be talking about, Nancy?
You know who I mean, all right.
You know, Nancy, you are a very remarkable girl in many respects. I believe you are jealous of your mistress.
She? She's a poor thing. There's no need to be jealous of her. You want to kiss me again, don't you? Don't you want to kiss me again? There. That's better than a sick headache, ain't it? A sick headache and a pale face all the day.
Why, yes, Nancy. I believe it is. I think, however, don't you, that it would be better if you and I met one evening in different surroundings.
Yes, where? I'll meet you where you like. You're mine now, ain't you? Because you want me. You want me, don't you?
And what of you, Nancy? Do you want me?
Oh, I've wanted you ever since I first clapped eyes on you. I've wanted you more than all of them.
Oh, there are plenty of others.
Yes, there's plenty of others.
So I rather imagined. And only 19.
Where shall we meet? Where do you want us to meet?
Really, Nancy, you've taken me a little by surprise. I'll let you know tomorrow.
How will you let me know when she's about?
Oh, I'll find a way. I don't believe Mrs. Manningham will be here tomorrow.
Oh? Not that I care about her. I kiss you under her very nose. That's what I like to do.
All right, Nancy. Now you had better go to bed. I have some work to do.
Go? I don't want to go.
There. Run along. I have some work to do.
Oh, work. What are you going to work at? What are you going to do?
I'm going to write some letters and then There. Run along. There's a good girl.
Very well. You shall be master for a little longer. Good night, your lordship.
Good night.
When shall you let me know tomorrow?
When I find time, Nancy. When I find time. Good night.
Good night. Yes, what is it now?
Nancy, will you please go upstairs and take a message for me to Mrs. Manningham?
Yes, what you want me to say?
Tell her I wish to see her down here this instant, whether she is suffering from a sick headache or any other form of ailment.
Just like that, sir.
Just like that, Nancy.
With the greatest of pleasure, sir. She won't come. She doesn't mean to come.
What do you mean, Nancy? She won't come.
She says she's not coming. She's not feeling well enough. She's the shaman, if you ask me.
Then she forces me to be undignified. All right, Nancy, leave it to me.
The door's locked. She's locked it. I tried it.
The door's locked, is it? Very well.
She won't let you in. I can tell by her voice. She's got it locked and she won't open it. Are you going to batter it in?
No. Perhaps you are right, Nancy. Let us try more delicate means of attaining our ends. Perhaps you will take a note to this wretched imbecile and slip it under her door.
Yes, I'll do that. What are you going to write?
Never mind what I'm going to write. I'll tell you what you can do, though, Nancy.
Yes, what?
Run down to the basement and bring the little dog here, will you?
The dog?
The dog, yes.
What's the game? What's the idea with the dog?
Never mind, Nancy. Just go and get it, will you?
All right.
Or on second thought, perhaps you need not get the dog. No. We will just let it be supposed we have the dog. That will be even more delicate still. Here, Nancy. Go and slip this under her door, will you?
What's the game? What have you written in this?
Nothing very much. Just a little smoke for getting rats out of holes. There. Run along.
You're a rum beggar, ain't you? Can't I look?
Go on, Nancy.
She's coming. It's done the trick, all right.
Ah, so I thought. Now, Nancy, I will be very much obliged if you will go to bed at once.
Go on. What's the game? What's the row
Nancy,
about?
will you please go to bed?
All right, I'm going. Give her what for, will ya?
Good night, Nancy.
Ta-ta.
Come and sit down in this chair, please, Bella.
Where is the dog? Where have you got the dog?
Dog? What dog?
You said you had the dog. Have you hurt it? Where is it? Let me have it. Have you hurt it again?
Again? This is strange talk from you, Bella, after what you did to the dog a few weeks ago. Come and sit down here.
I do not want to talk to you. I'm not well. I thought you had the dog and were going to hurt it. That is why I came down.
The dog, my dear Bella, was merely a ruse to compel you to pay me a visit quietly. come and sit down where I told you.
No, I want to...
Come and sit down where I told you!
What do you want?
Quite a good deal, Bella. Sit down and make yourself comfortable. We have plenty of time.
No, I want to go. You cannot make me stay.
Sit down and make yourself comfortable, Bella. We have plenty of time.
Say what you have to say.
Now you are not sitting in the chair I indicated, Bella.
What have you to say?
I have to say that you are not sitting in the chair I indicated. Are you afraid of me that you desire to get so near the door?
No, I'm not afraid of you.
No? Then you have a good deal of courage, my dear. However, will you now sit down where I told you?
Yes.
Do you know what you remind me of, Bella, as you walk across the room?
No. What do I remind you of?
A somnambulist, Bella. Have you ever seen such a person?
No, I've never seen one.
No, not that glazed, dazed look of the wandering mind, the body that acts without the soul to guide it. I have often thought you had that look, but it's never been so strong as tonight.
My mind is not wandering.
No? When I came in, Bella, I was told that you had gone to bed.
Yes, I had gone to bed.
Then may I ask why you are still fully dressed? Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I heard what you said.
Then will you tell me why, since you had gone to bed, are you still fully dressed?
I don't know.
You don't know? Do you know anything about anything you do?
I don't know. I forgot to undress.
You forgot to undress. A curious oversight, if I may say so, Bella. You know, you give me the appearance of having had a rather exciting time since I last saw you. Almost as though you've been up to something. Have you been up to anything?
No, I don't know what you mean.
Did you find that bill I told you to find?
No.
Do you remember what I said would happen to you if you did not find that bill?
No.
No. No? Am I married to a dumb woman, Bella? In addition to all else? The array of your physical and mental deficiencies is growing almost overwhelming. I advise you to answer me.
What do you want me to say?
I asked you if you remembered something. Go on, Bella. What was it I asked you if you remembered?
I don't understand your words. You talk round and round. My head is going round and round.
It is not necessary to tell me, Bella. I'm just wondering if it can interrupt its gyratory motion for a fraction of a second and concentrate upon the present conversation. And please, what was it I a moment ago asked you if you remembered?
You asked me if I remembered what you said would happen to me if I did not find that bill.
Admirable, my dear Bella, admirable. We shall make a great logician of you yet. A Socrates, a John Stuart Mill. You shall go down in history as the shining mind of your day. That is, if your present history does not altogether submerge you, take you away from your fellow creatures. And there is danger of that, you know, in more ways than one. Now, what did I say would happen to you if you did not find that bill?
You said you would lock me up.
Yes. And do you believe me to be a man of my word? You see, Bella, in a life of considerable and varied experience, I have hammered out a few principles of action. In fact, I actually fancy I know how to deal with my fellow men. I learned it quite early, at school, in fact. There, you know, there were two ways of getting at what you wanted. One was along an intellectual plane, the other along the physical. When one failed, one used the other. I took that lesson into life with me. Hitherto, With you I have worked with what forbearance and patience I leave you to judge, along the intellectual plane. However, I believe now the time has come to work along the other as well. You will understand that I am a man of some power. Why do you look at me, Bella? I said I am a man of some power and determination, and as fully capable in one direction as in the other. I will leave your imagination to work on what I mean. However, we are really digressing. You did not find that bill I told you to find.
No.
Did you look for it?
Yes.
Where did you look for it?
Around the room.
Around the room. Where? Around the room. In my desk, for instance!
No, not in your desk.
Why not in my desk?
Your desk is locked.
Do you imagine you can lie to me?
I'm not lying.
Come here, Bella.
What do you want?
Come here. Now listen to me. Your dark, confused, rambling mind has led you into playing some petty tricks tonight, has it not?
My mind is tired. I want to go.
Your mind indeed is tired. Your mind is so tired that it can no longer work at all. You do not think, you dream incessantly and maliciously. Don't you know that by now? You sleepwalking imbecile. What did you dream tonight, huh? Where has your mind wandered that you have split open my desk? What strange, diseased dream have you had tonight, eh?
Dreamed? Are you saying I have dreamed? Dreamed all that happened?
All that happened when, Bella? Tonight? Of course you dreamed all that happened. Or rather, all that did not happen.
Dream? Tonight, are you saying I have dreamed? My God, have I dreamed? Have I dreamed again?
Have I not told you?
I haven't dreamed. Oh, don't tell me I've dreamed. For God's sake, don't
Sit
tell
down and be quiet. Sit down. I want to know more about this strange dream of yours, Bella. You interest me.
I dreamt of a man. I dreamt of a man.
What man did you dream of, pray?
A man that came to see me. Oh, let me rest.
Pull yourself together, Bella. What man did you dream of?
I dreamed a man came in here.
I know you dreamed it, you gibbering wretch. I want to know more about this man of whom you dreamed. Do you hear? Do you hear me?
Was I any part of this curious dream of yours, Mrs. Manningham? Or perhaps my presence here will help you to recall it.
May I ask who the devil you are and how you got in?
Well, who I am seems a little doubtful. Apparently, I am a mere figment of Mrs. Manningham's imagination. As for how I got in, I came in, or rather, I came back. Or better still, I effected an entrance a few minutes before you. And I've been hidden away ever since.
And would you be kind enough to tell me what you are doing here?
Waiting for some friends, Mr. Manningham.
Friends?
Waiting for some friends. Don't you think you had better go up to bed, Mrs. Manningham? You look very tired.
Don't you think you had better explain your business, sir?
Well, sir, as a mere figment, as a mere ghost, existing only in your wife's mind, I can hardly be said to have any business.
Now, see here.
Tell me, Manningham, can you see me? No doubt your wife can, but it must be difficult for you. Perhaps if she goes up to her room, I will vanish, and you won't be bothered by me any longer.
Bella, go to your room. I will call you down later. I will find out the meaning of this and deal with you in due course.
I didn't-
Go to your room! I will call you down later. I have not finished with you yet, madam.
You know, I think you're wrong there, Manningham. I think that is just what you have done.
Done what?
Finished with your wife, my friend.
Now, sir, would you have the goodness to tell me your name and your business, if any?
I have no name, Manningham, in my present capacity, I am, as I have pointed out, merely a spirit. Perhaps a spirit of something you have evaded all your life. But in my case, only a spirit. Would you have a cigar with a spirit? We may have to wait some time.
Are you going to tell me your business, sir? Or am I going to fetch a policeman and have you turned out?
Ah, an admirable idea. Yes, I could have thought of nothing better myself. Fetch a policeman, Manningham, and have me turned out. Why do you wait?
Alternatively, sir, I can turn you out myself.
Yes, but why not fetch a policeman?
You give me the impression, sir, of having something up your sleeve. Will you go on with what you were saying?
Yes, certainly. Where was I? Excuse me, Manningham, but do you get the same impression as myself?
What impression?
An impression that the light is going down in this room.
I have not noticed it.
Oh, yes. Surely, there. Eerie, isn't it? Now we're almost in the dark. Why do you think that has happened? You don't suppose a light has been put on somewhere else, do you? You don't suppose there are other spirits? Fellow spirits of mine. Spirits surrounding the house now. Spirits of justice, even, which have caught up with you at last, Mr. Manningham.
Are you off your head, sir?
Oh, no, sir. Just an old man seeing ghosts. It must be the atmosphere of this house. I can see them everywhere. It's the oddest thing. Do you know one ghost I can see, Manningham? You could hardly believe it.
What ghost do you see, pray?
I see the ghost of an old woman, sir. An old woman who once lived in this house, here in this very room. An old woman in this very room. What things I imagine.
What are you saying?
Remarkably clear, sir, I see it. An old woman getting ready to go to bed. Here in this very room, an old woman getting ready to go up to bed at the end of the day. Why, there she is. She sits just there. Now it seems I see another ghost as well. I see the ghost of a young man, sir. Tall, handsome, well-groomed young man, but this young man has murder in his eyes. Why, bless my soul, he might be you, Mr. Manningham. He might be you. Well, the old lady sees him. Can't you see it all? She screams, screams for help, screams before her throat is cut open with a knife. She lies dead on the floor of this room. There. Now, I don't see that ghost anymore.
What's the game, eh?
But I still
What's your
see
game?
the ghost of the man. I see him all through the night as he ransacks the house, searching frantically, room after room, hour after hour, madly seeking the thing he cannot find. And then years pass. Where is he? Why, sir, is he not in the very same house? The house he ransacked? The house he searched? And does he not now stand before the ghost of the woman he killed in the room in which he killed her? A methodical man, a patient man, but perhaps he has waited too long, for justice has waited too. And here she stands, in my person, to exact her due. And justice found, my friend, in 1 hour, what you sought for 15 years and could not find. See here, look what she found. A letter which never reached your wife. A brooch which you gave your wife, but which she did not appreciate. How wicked of her. But then, she didn't know its real value. How could she have known that it held the Barlow rubies? See, there, £12,000 worth before your very eyes. You killed one woman for those and tried to drive another out of her mind. And all the while they have been in your own desk. And all they have brought you is a rope around your neck, Mr. Sidney Power.
You seem, sir, to have some rather remarkable information. Do you imagine that you are going to leave this room with such information in your possession?
Do you imagine, sir, that you are going to leave this room without suitable escort?
May I ask what you mean by that?
Only that I have men in the house already. Didn't you realize they had signaled their arrival from above? Your own way in, Mr. Manningham. When the lights went down.
Here, what the devil's this? Leave go of me, will you? Leave go of me!
Sidney Charles Power, I have a warrant for your arrest for the murder of Alice Barlow. I should warn you that anything you may say may be taken down in writing and used as evidence at a later date. Will you accompany us to the station in a peaceful fashion? You will oblige us all, Power, and serve your own interests best by coming with us quietly. Very well, take him away.
Inspector Ruff.
Yes, my dear. Now, don't you think you had
Inspector.
better... Yes.
I want to speak to my husband.
Now, surely there's
I
nothing...
want to speak to my husband.
Very well. What do you wish to say?
I want to speak to him alone.
Alone?
Yes, alone. Won't you let me speak to him alone? I beg of you to allow me. I won't keep him long.
I don't quite understand. Alone? Very well. You may speak to him alone. Very well. Make him fast in this chair. This is anything but in order, but we will wait outside. You must not be long, Mrs. Manningham.
I do not want you to listen.
No, I will not listen.
Jack, what have they done to you? What have they done?
It's all right, my dear. You're clever. Terribly clever. Can you get something to cut this? I can make it out through my dressing room and jump from the window. Can you get something?
Yes, I can get something. What can I get?
I've just remembered. There's a razor in my dressing room. Can you get it?
A razor. Yes, I can get it.
It's in my dresser. Hurry, quick, and get it.
Jack, it's the grocery bill. You see, I didn't lose it. I told you that I didn't.
Cut me loose, Bella.
Jack, how did this get in here? You said that
I must have been mistaken about the bill. Quickly, darling, use the razor. Quick.
Razor? What razor? You are not suggesting that this is a razor I hold in my hand. Have you gone mad, my husband?
Bella, what are you up to?
Or is it I who am mad? Yes, that's it. It's I. Of course it was a razor. Dear God, I've lost it, haven't I? Oh, I'm always losing things, and I can never find them. I don't know where I put them.
Bella!
I must look for it, mustn't I? If I do not find it, you will lock me in my room. You will lock me in the madhouse for my mischief. Now, where could it be? Could it be behind the picture? Yes, it must be there. Oh, no. No, it's not here. How strange. I must put the picture back. I have taken it down, and I must put it back. Now, where now shall I look? Where shall I look? The desk. Perhaps I put it in the desk. Yes. Oh, no. No, it's not here. But here is a letter, and here is a watch, and a bill. You see, I found them at last. But they don't help you, do they? And I am trying to help you, aren't I? To help you escape. But how can a mad woman help her husband to escape? What a pity. If I were not mad, I could have helped you. If I were not mad, whatever you had done, I could have pitied and protected you. But because I am mad, I have hated you. And because I am mad, I am rejoicing in my heart, without a shred of pity, without a shred of regret, watching you go with glory in my heart.
Bella!
Inspector! Inspector, come and take this man away! Come and take this man away! Come and take this man away! No!
Now, my dear, come and sit down. You've had a bad time. I came in out of nowhere and gave you the most horrible evening of your life, didn't I? Most horrible evening of anyone's life, I should imagine.
The most horrible? Oh, no. The most wonderful. Far and away, the most wonderful.